All right, so in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about how to get the right signs, S-I-G-N-S, for these types of double angle problems. So that's really going to come down to really focusing our attention here. If we know that the tangent of x is -3 and x terminates in quadrant 2. That's really important, okay, because when we think about that, if we're thinking about an angle that terminates in quadrant 2, okay, so let's call this x, right? Here's our angle, and the tangent is -3, so opposite over adjacent is 3/1. This part would have to be negative, right? Because it's the x value, and in quadrant 2, our x value is negative. So we have an x value of -1, a y value of 3, and then we would use those to solve for our r value, right? So -1 squared plus 3 squared will give us r squared. So we would have what 1 plus 9 is equal to r squared. R squared equals 10, and r would equal the square root of 10. And remember that r is always positive. Okay, this gives us all that we need for our 3 double angles that are requested. Okay, so let's go ahead and think about this. Sine of 2x is going to equal 2 times the sine of x times the cosine of x. Okay, and so looking at our diagram over to the right here, we can say that the sine of x is going to be our opposite over our hypotenuse, or 3 over square root of 10. I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Our cosine of x is going to be our adjacent over the hypotenuse, -1 over square root of 10. All right, and just for later, so we have it, our tan of x, of course, is going to be -3, which we were given in our problem. Okay. All right, so now let's sub in the right things. We've got the 2 there, and then we've got sine of x is 3 over the square root of 10, and the cosine of x is -1 over the square root of 10. All right, okay, so what we see here, we've got a positive times a positive times a positive times a negative, which is going to give us a negative answer. And then we're just going to multiply our numerators all together. So 2 times 3 times -1 is going to be -6 over our denominator, 1 times the square root of 10 times the square root of 10, which is going to be just 10. And so we end up with an answer of -3/5. Okay, and so that would be what goes here. All right, once you've got one of them, you can find the others pretty easy. You could actually use one to find the others if you want to, but I would suggest going ahead and doing cosine the same way, and then using our ratio of sine over cosine to find our tangent. That would be my suggestion. So then I would do this. Cosine of 2x is equal to cosine squared of x minus sine squared of x. So cosine of x is -1 over the square root of 10. And sine of x is 3 over the square root of 10. And we're squaring both of those, right? And so what we get here is, if I square that first piece, it would be +1 over 10. And if I square the second piece, I'm going to have, 9 over 10. And so I've got 1 over 10 minus 9 over 10, and that's going to give me a -8 over 10, or -4 over 5. Now if I have the sine of 2x and the cosine of 2x, then I can use them to find the tangent. It's easier than subbing in the formula. So I would do negative 3 over 5 over negative 4 over 5. And that's going to give us positive 3/4. And we should be good to go. All right, so again, to get the right signs, you really need to pay big attention to where our initial angle terminates so that I could get the right signs on these initial trig functions when I sub them into the formula. Hope this helps you.